It's time for Real Talk with Brian and Dan, the weekly talk radio show dedicated to discussing important real estate topics, plus insight into the local community. With a combined experience of over 50 years as local real estate brokers from the Eastside Real Estate Team at Keller Williams Realty Bellevue. Here's your hosts, Brian Levitt and Dan Edwards.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to Real Talk with Brian and Dan on 1150 KKNW. It is Wednesday, April 22nd, and we are so glad you're joining us today. Our live stream isn't working on Facebook, but you can go right over to YouTube and look for the 1150 KKNW YouTube channel, and you'll see our smiley faces. We appreciate you watching today. We hope that you enjoy the guests that we have and the content that we have. If you're interested in listening to past episodes, you can find us anywhere. You can subscribe to podcasts, both Google Podcasts and Apple Podcasts. Additionally, we have all broadcasts available on our website, www.theeastsiderealestateteam.com/blog. If you go there, you're going to find complete shows. You'll find all the segments. You can search through the segments for any tips that you're looking for if you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate. We have a fantastic show again for you today. I know we have some really excellent guests that you're going to enjoy. First off, we have our mortgage moment with Michael Burdick. He'll be joining us today. Also, we will have Doug Peterson with Get Priorities Straight. He's been with us a couple of times. And then Janis Bayley with Metamorphosis Coaching. But before we get to our guests, let's start with some real talk. And we've got a great Real Talk segment here today, Brian. I want to share with the listeners kind of a perception that's out there today, many with regards to home prices because of this pandemic right now. Home buyers want lower prices. Sellers are disagreeing. And it's funny because there's so much uncertainty, right? The pandemic's causing a lot of things to change. How we interact, how we do business, how we buy and sell real estate. And we'll talk about that here in a second. But what is really happening is buyers are searching for a better deal. Brian, I've talked to quite a few over the last week, and the whole idea is I think I might be able to find a deal, but sellers are not offering discounts. They're holding steady. What do you?
And they don't need to. I mean, the market just hasn't declined for us. I think one of the things that we're seeing is a little less what I call market exuberance with sellers, where they're being realistic in their pricing, but we're not seeing a drop. According to the most recent National Association of Realtors survey, a survey of real estate brokers from across the country, brokers were asked the following two questions. One, have any of your sellers recently reduced their price to attract buyers? Their answer, 72% said their sellers have not lowered prices to attract buyers during the crisis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting because we have several, both buyers and sellers. And Brian, what have you advised your sellers?
To be patient. I think before this started, when I had a well-priced listing, I'd get 9 or 10 offers. Now I'm getting 3 or 4. But remember, all it takes is one. And, we're getting some people that are on, what we like to call fishing expeditions, looking to lowball. Those aren't getting accepted. Not that there aren't deals out there, but there's always deals out there. And representing a buyer, this is nothing new for a buyer to want a deal. We all do. Yeah. But sellers just need to be a little more patient in this market.
So I think that the important marker is kind of going through the psychology of what a seller is doing and going through the psychology of what a buyer is doing. And I think a good agent can help a buyer understand where a seller's coming from and a seller understand where a buyer's coming from, and just try and diffuse a situation that can be emotional. So, and how we do that is through facts, right? So let's look at the facts. Is in the last 7 days, we talked about this, I think last couple of weeks, but this is your current weekly report then. In the last 7 days, a total of 278 homes have been listed or brought back on the market on the east side. And then if you take all the homes that have been removed from the market, so by removed, we're talking about they go into contract, they expire, they go pending, or they go canceled. So if you combine all of those on the east side, it's a total of negative 46 homes in the last 7 days. So the inventory has contracted in the last 7 days by 46 homes. So that doesn't really speak to buyers being allowed to get a deal, because there's actually literally less homes than there were 7 days ago on the market.
Yeah, supply and demand. The demand is still exceeding the supply.
That's right. So how do we guide people, Brian?
I think, again, telling people to be patient. It is taking a little bit longer to do showings because of social distancing requirements. So just being patient. I think the big question is, when do we think this will be over? Nobody knows. I think once we get the virus under control, once there's a vaccine, it'll be completely over. But until then, I'm just counseling my people to be patient. For buyers, it's a great time to buy because rates are low. Even though inventory is low, there are still great houses to be purchased. And on sellers, just tell them to be patient. We're getting great prices. It's just taking a little bit longer to do it.
Yeah. So let's talk about some of the tools that we're using to help both buyers and sellers find success. So we have set up a complete buyer's presentation and an interview to where if somebody is interested in buying, you guys can reach out to the Eastside Real Estate team, and we will walk you through the entire buying process on a meeting like what we're doing here, where we're talking through, answering questions, and really a show and tell, talking about the numbers. And most importantly, we're utilizing the technology to allow buyers access to homes without them having to go out and look at the home. So we can go in, do video tours. Some listing agents, which are tools that we're using, are able to do 3D tours, do video walkthroughs that are very helpful. But sometimes, I think almost 100% of the time, somebody has to go through it. So we can actually do private tours, two people at a time in the home. But we're being much more methodical about the process. We don't have to go look at hundreds of homes. You don't have to spend your Saturdays and your Sunday afternoons touring with the masses. You can basically narrow down your search, put us to work, right? Send us to the homes to do the walkthroughs, to check things out, and then decide on the ones that are most going to match your needs. That's how we're leveraging technology right now.
Dan, I think this is going to change the way we do business going forward, because we're getting used to new technologies that we didn't really have to rely on before. But example, right now, I can do tours with the buyer by sharing my screen and walking them through a listing, looking at the data, looking at the photos, sharing with them my trained eye as to what to look for in these homes, which is exactly what I do when I show a home in real time, or this is real time, but in person. So we're leveraging the technologies that we've had. We're just becoming much more accustomed to using them, and it's great. It really is a terrific tool.
So the bottom line is this: if you're a buyer in today's market, you're probably not going to see sellers lowering their prices quickly. And if you're a seller and you don't want to lower your price, well, you're not alone. If you have any questions about pricing your home or helping negotiate the best possible price, please reach out to the Eastside Real Estate team. You can find us on our website, theeastsiderealestateteam.com, or you can call us at 425-200-4093. All right, that concludes our Real Talk segment. And if you're interested in this topic or any other topics, you'll find them on our website under the blog section. Just look for real estate tips. And we'd be happy to take your calls and answer any of your questions that go a little bit deeper. But coming up after the break, we're going to be speaking with our lender for our Mortgage Moment segment. After this commercial break, it will be Michael Burdick. So come right back after this short break.
Not sure if now is the right time to sell? Worried you missed the market? The Eastside Real Estate team specializes in helping homeowners maximize their equity when selling. With our proven premier listing service, our clients have sold their homes for more money in less time than the competition. We know you have many choices when working with a real estate agent, but with the Eastside Real Estate team, you get a team of highly qualified, experienced agents. From staging to deciding if your property is market ready for top dollar. If you're considering selling, call the Eastside Real Estate team at 425-200-4093 or check out our website at the eastsiderealestateteam.com, a subsidiary of Keller Williams Realty in Bellevue.
Do you wonder where all your income is going, even though you're making good money? Doug at Get Priorities Straight will coach you to know where all your money is going, painlessly cut financial fat, and get your money serving you. Doug has spent over 20 years mentoring professionals and found personal finances to be hugely overlooked in every stage of life. If you want to learn more and get your money serving you, contact us at info@getprioritiesstraight.com for a confidential conversation with Doug. It's not what you make, it's what you keep.
Have you ever had the feeling that home repairs are taking over your life? With our busy schedules, it's easy to feel overwhelmed. There are many things that can go wrong with the home, and often. They seem to happen at once. When home ownership starts to feel unmanageable, that's the time to reach out for help. It's definitely not the time to ignore issues or perform a half-hearted fix. That only results in larger repair costs down the road. Take action to protect your home by contacting Done to Spec. They work closely with homeowners to explore issues, identify solutions, and correct problems before they snowball into something bigger. You can find them online at donetospec.com, and they're available by phone at 425-996-9559. That's 425-996-9559. Done to Spec. Prompt, reliable, professional.
Alternative Talk, 1150 on AM, 98.9 HD3 on HD, 1150kknw.com on the web.
Welcome back to this show. You're listening to Real Talk with Brian and Dan.
I'm Brian.
And I'm Dan. It's now time for our Mortgage Moment segment. During the segment, we like to talk about what's going on with first-time home buyers. Joining us today is our local mortgage expert, Michael Burdick. Welcome to the show, Michael.
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me.
Hey, Michael.
Hey, we appreciate you coming on. It sounds like we had some last-minute technical difficulties, yeah?
Yeah, the mortgage industry locks us down.
Yeah,
gotcha.
Well, you made it.
That's good. That's good.
So, Michael,
you made it.
Yeah, I'm here.
Talking about first-time buyers, does first-time buyer mean that a person could never have owned a home before?
So that's what some people would think, but actually the rule from Fannie Freddie Mac agency is 3 years. So if you haven't owned a home for 3 years, you can qualify for some of these first-time homebuyer programs.
Good to know.
So basically, if you haven't owned a home in 3 years, you qualify for the first-time homebuyer programs.
Correct. So there are programs that are only available to first-time homebuyers. As long as you haven't owned a home for 3 years, you can qualify for them.
What are they?
So conventional has 3% down options. And the benefit for these programs is there's lower mortgage insurance tiers for them. So you could get potentially a better rate, a better mortgage insurance premium than if you were to put 5% down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Programs that not everybody knows about. So it's something that I really pride myself on, knowing all the programs and seeing, what works for everyone.
Are there other ways these programs differ?
Yeah, there's definitely pros and cons. Obviously, if you have more to put down, it's gonna lower your loan amount for your purchase price, which is going to lower your payment. So if you're putting down 0 or 3%, it's going to limit the amount you can purchase and qualify for. But as far as the programs go, there's FHA programs that are very liberal on credit score, conventional programs which are more strict, and then zero down programs. So depending on someone's situation, we'll actually get an application and see which one fits best for them.
Yeah. So Michael, if our listeners are interested in talking to you about one of these programs, how do they reach you?
So the best way to reach me is my cell phone, and I'm actually in the office 24/7 these days. My number is 206-661-2289, or just Google Michael Burdick and downtown Bellevue.
All right, Michael Burdick with Loan Depot. Thanks for coming on today.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Michael.
All right. Next up, after the break, we're going to be welcoming back Mr. Doug Peterson with your Get Priorities Straight, who'll be talking to us about personal financing, personal finances, and investing in real estate. Come on back after this short break.
Did you know when you pay rent, you're actually paying someone else's mortgage? Are you tired of missing out on owning your own home? Fact: homeowners on average have 40 times the financial net worth of renters. The Eastside Real Estate Team has been helping many first-time homebuyers find and buy their first home. They specialize in customer service and put you first. They listen first to what you're looking for, and then they take the time to make sure their clients understand every aspect of the home buying process. If owning a home has been your dream, the Eastside Real Estate Team can help you. For a free, no-hassle consultation, call 425-200-4093 or find them online at the eastsiderealestateteam.com, a subsidiary of Keller Williams Realty in Bellevue.
Admit it, there's a home remodeling project that you've been itching to have completed, but you've got no idea how to start. Maybe it's a new kitchen, bathroom, room addition, or a basement remodel. Nathan with Terra Builders helps people just like you navigate the entire home remodeling process, including the planning, design, and permit application. Nathan has been remodeling homes since 2008. To schedule an in-home consultation, call or text Nathan at 206-499-3890 or email nathan@terrabuildersinc.com. That's 206-499-3890 or email Nathan at TERRA builders.com.
Do you wonder where all your income is going, even though you're making good money? Doug at Get Priorities Straight will coach you to know where all your money is going, painlessly cut financial fat, and get your money serving you. Doug has spent over 20 years mentoring professionals and found personal finances to be hugely overlooked at every stage of life. If you want to learn more and get your money serving you, contact us at info@getprioritiesstraight.com for a confidential conversation with Doug. It's not what you make, it's what you keep.
Alternative Talk 1150, the talk of the sound.
Welcome back. You're listening to Real Talk with Brian and Dan on 1150 KKNW.
I'm Brian.
And I'm Dan. And our first guest today is Doug Peterson with Get Priorities Straight. Doug Peterson, in addition to his background of coaching and mentoring, spent 5 years selling real estate. Over the last
5 long years.
5 long years, yeah. Over the last 20, he's helped people align their financial goals and visions, both personally and professionally. He's founded Get Priorities Straight in 2018 to provide a program to help individuals and investors maximize their personal income and improve their ability to invest. Welcome to the show, Doug. Welcome back to the show, Doug.
Thank you very much. Good to be here.
Well, before we jump into the business at hand, let's talk about the quarantine life. What are you doing differently? What's a new hobby you've discovered, or perhaps a bad habit you've acquired since being stuck at home?
Now, you didn't prompt me on bad habits or anything. And I don't know if we have enough time.
There we go.
The wine cellar is getting low, but that's
dear.
not a new one. Spending a lot more time with my wife who's working here, definitely driving less, but I was already a virtual company. And I'm walking and cooking more. So I suppose cooking is keeping my weight on.
Keeping your weight on is providing balance of the force, right?
It's not easy to maintain this level of weight, I'm telling you.
Oh, funny. So I know we're tapping the wine cellar a little bit more, drinking some of the good stuff. Don't know if we'll be around tomorrow. So enjoy. So Doug, let's talk about real estate investing. What would you tell someone who is getting ready to invest?
The first thing really is to get your financial house in order. You know, to be an investor, you want to have a great credit score. You want to have enough reserves to run your household. If you have infrequent expenses, you need emergency funds. You need to work on your credit score. You know, running a household is really like running a business. And it's really as simple as money coming in, money going out. More needs to come in than go out. And we need to save some. And you need to do the same thing in a business. Both have to have good reserves. So if you want to start investing, have your financial house in order so you can get the best rates.
So having your house in order, that's really important. And once that happens, why don't you share with me like one quick tip for somebody right now to say, okay, let me change this to getting one step closer to having your house in order?
If somebody wants to do it all on their own, there's a program that I use with my clients called YNAB. It stands for You Need a Budget. And the whole premise is every dollar gets a job, and you decide where your money goes before you spend it. If you did that one thing and stuck with it, not just a snapshot in time, you'll make a big difference in your finances.
What's that called again?
Stands for You Need a Budget, YNAB.
Is that a website or web tool?
It's a financial budgeting software. And if anybody wants to send me a note, I can send them a link, or they can also just go on to YNAB or youneedabudget.com and you can get a free trial.
Yeah. Reach out to us. We'll make sure you get connected. So then my question is, what is your experience in real estate investing?
Well, I did a terrible job. I began investing in my early 20s. I was in the real estate boom about 1976-ish. I bought a house, made $15,000 in 10 months, sold it. Had I kept that house, I'd be cash flowing positive for 40 years, at least $30,000 to $40,000 a year.
Wow.
But I went for the quick hit. So investing is a long-term hit. I also acquired 3 houses that needed to be moved to a different location. Got them really cheap, spent a lot of money, didn't make any money, but I spent a lot of time. So I did a terrible job early on.
Well, that's how you learn.
Well, I also did it by myself. I didn't engage professionals. And had I to do over, one of them would have told me, don't do that deal. The other would have said, why are you selling?
Right.
This is a cash cow.
That's exactly right. Most people complain about real estate investing, and really the answer has always been, you lose money when you sell, right? It's no longer an investment. Then it's just cash out. And but you can never lose money if you never sell.
Well, so one thing that also helps is, we have a house with a basement. I'm cash flowing positive $26,000 a year just renting out my basement.
Oh, nice. So Doug, what's the most creative thing you've done to come up with a down payment?
Well, again, early on, I was doing fun stuff and doing pretty good. So I bought a really expensive ski boat with a 200 horse outboard. Then I wanted to buy a house, and I used it as part of my earnest money and partial down payment written into the real estate contract that if I didn't sell it, they got the boat. And if I did sell it, I get cash.
That is pretty creative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brian, have you ever done that, or has any of your clients ever used?
Oh yeah, I've had clients. My most interesting one was a buyer whose down payment was stock in a clam farm. Ivor would have been happy. So yeah, and I wrote it. It's like, okay, I'll write it. The seller didn't like that idea, didn't accept the offer, but it was definitely creative. Yeah.
They must have been being shellfish. Probably.
Yeah, they were being shellfish about the whole thing. Ooh, bad.
Sorry. Okay. All right. So how do you suggest people start saving for a real estate investment, even maybe their first home?
Long-term real estate's been one of the best investments ever. And people don't manage their money proactively. It's just, most people look at the wake of their boat and see, wow, that was an expensive month. Or they say things like, we're making good money. How come we don't have more? So live within your means. Live like other people don't live, so you can live like other people don't live. And start setting aside money and set aside reserves.
Sounds a lot like Dave Ramsey there.
It is. It's really
it's good stuff.
Yeah, it's a fundamental. It just doesn't change. If you will manage stuff and delay a little gratification so that you have cash, I don't know, you guys answer. How well does cash work in transactions versus people that don't have much?
Yeah, cash talks.
Cash talks. Cash is king. And if you ever get into a market where things are on sale, like the stock market is now, you need cash. But real estate is one of the longest term, it'll have blips, but it's consistently gone up, and they're not making any more of it.
Yeah.
Well, I would say just really pay attention to where your money's going and manage your finances like it was a business. And you can have money to invest, whether it's your own home or a rental.
So right now, some of the investment gurus are talking about getting cheap money while it's available. A good credit score helps in that process. What are ways a buyer can increase their credit score?
Okay, so a lot of people don't understand what credit is. So let me just explain a credit score briefly, which is it's the way you manage debt. It really doesn't tell you if you can pay it back. It tells you how you've managed debt in the past. The three biggest factors are late payments, derogatory marks, and credit utilization. The first two are kind of tough to deal with if they're true. You could try to dispute them. But the credit utilization, most people don't realize even one card with a high balance is going to increase your utilization and could drop your score 50 to 100 points.
Oh, wow.
Even if you're a signer on someone else's card who has a high balance, it'll drop your score. So get off other people's cards is another way.
High balance thing. And that's over 30%, right? So if the card has a balance over 30%, that's when it starts to really ding you, right?
Yep. And it gets exponentially grows. And I've seen people with 103% utilization. They're
wow.
Doug, how does somebody investigate their personal credit safely?
So two ways. One is Credit Karma. It's a free website, creditkarma.com. It's a good indicator. It's not 100%. The other is you can go to just Google, and again, people can send me notes if they want. I can send them resources. You can get a free credit report once a year, and it'll be a complete credit report. And that's the best way to see what all the marks are. But you can get a really good idea just by looking at Credit Karma. And it doesn't cause any credit hits, so it's not a negative.
Huh. All right. So if somebody does have a bad credit score, what do they do?
Well, again, you have to start looking at those factors and figure out if it's repairable. It can be up to 7 years before a derogatory or late payment goes off. But again, that credit utilization, let's say you have a lot of unsecured debt, but you have a 401k, you can borrow against your 401k, it then becomes a secured debt, probably at a much lower interest rate. You can borrow against IRAs, but make sure you look at the rules, because a Roth IRA, you can borrow the principal you put in up to 60 days. So you want to make sure you have a good strategy so that you don't get caught paying penalties. Right. But if you can move it from unsecured to secure, it'll shoot up within 4 weeks, 60 to 80 to 150 points, depending on your situation.
So you mentioned the 401k or the Roth for down payment. Are there other sources that you can think of?
Yeah, I would just say you look at what you can sell. What assets do you have that you're not using? If you have significant cash flow and you're making good money, you can borrow a HELOC against your existing house if you own a home. You could partner with people that have significant equity and want to get into real estate investing and have them put up some of the money and work out a deal. I mean, there's lots of creative ways to get into it. And it's not just, I have to do it all by myself. There's other people and other groups that want to get into real estate investing, both residential and commercial, that build groups. And the only one I would go with is the people that are doing it themselves and have their own skin in the game.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's off a couple of things that I think of with the down payment, the HELOC, also a reverse mortgage, is people can get themselves in trouble utilizing those forms of credit because they're not using the proper way. Doug, how do you help somebody in a situation that wants to invest, wants to utilize those funds, but also needs to be careful about maybe making a bad investment in over leveraging the borrow, whether it be from a Roth IRA, home equity line, or a reverse mortgage?
Okay. Well, and again, the Roth IRA those were strategies to get from unsecured debt to secured debt to get your credit score up. Mm-hmm. Don't take anything I said as one fix-all. It's a staged event to increase credit scores, do some refinance, and get you in a better credit position. If you're investing, you've got to do the same thing a business does. You've got to figure out how long your run rate is, how long you can operate, what your costs are moving forward, both personally and professionally, so that you're not over-leveraged. I do not believe in over-leveraging at all. I'm a cash is king guy. I would rather wait an extra year and be safe and not lose my investment than get in a hurry and trying to make a quick buck.
Got it. So now, the question along the real estate, I know the answer to this question, but I want to hear it from your point of view, is why is real estate a good investment?
Over the last, I think, 100 years, real estate has consistently gone up. There's been blips. They're not making any more land. I'm in a house that it's going to date me a little bit, but it's gone up 5 times in value. And I didn't pay for the entire house. I'm paying interest on it, but much less interest than I'm paying on compared to the appreciation. So it's a math problem again. All you have to do is look historically, see what it's done. But just like the stock market, don't buy at retail and sell at wholesale when things go down. You have to be in for the long haul and plan accordingly so that you know that if there's a downturn in the economy, it'll turn around in a year or 2 or 3. That seems to be the pattern for the last 100 years.
So Doug, how can you help people get ready to invest?
So what my company does is helps people get their finances in order, both personally and professionally. And so it's really going from reacting to not only knowing where all your money is going all the time, real time, but projecting out what you're going to do and aligning what your priorities are with what you want to do financially. So you're not going to try to do them all at once. If you want to get into real estate investing or buy your first house, let's put off vacations. Let's put off putting a lot of extra money in investments. Let's put off saving for kids' college and get one and done. It'll be a lot faster than trying to do everything at once. It just depends on what's important to you as to how you create a plan. But the first thing is get not only all your finances so that you know exactly what it costs you, but so you and your spouse, if you're married or significant other, are on the same page.
Awesome. Doug, thank you so much for joining us today. It was really informative. We appreciate it.
It's great to be back. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Doug.
All right. After the break, we're going to be welcoming Janis Bayley with Metamorphosis Coaching, she will be sharing with us what a life coach does and who hires them. Stay tuned. Come on back after this short break.
Not sure if now is the right time to sell? Worried you missed the market? The Eastside Real Estate Team specializes in helping homeowners maximize their equity when selling. With our proven premier listing service, our clients have sold their homes for more money in less time than the competition. We know you have many choices when working with a real estate agent, but with the Eastside Real Estate Team, you get a team of highly qualified, experienced agents. From staging to deciding if your property is market ready for top dollar. If you're considering selling, call the Eastside Real Estate Team at 425-200-4093 or check out our website at the eastsiderealestateteam.com, a subsidiary of Keller Williams Realty in Bellevue.
Do you wonder where all your income is going, even though you're making good money? Doug at Get Priorities Straight will coach you to know where all your money is going, painlessly cut financial fat, and get your money serving you. Doug has spent over 20 years mentoring professionals and found personal finances to be hugely overlooked in every stage of life. If you want to learn more and get your money serving you, contact us at info@getprioritiesstraight.com for a confidential conversation with Doug. It's not what you make, it's what you keep.
Ever dreamt of creating a custom piece of jewelry but don't know where to start? Do you have out-of-date, broken, or inherited jewelry you never wear? Maybe you're planning to pop the question but feel overwhelmed with options. No matter your dilemma, experience the difference of working with a personal jeweler at Dynamic Designs. Bring us your ideas, inspirations, or even your old jewelry to restore or repurpose. We work with your style and budget to create a design that you will cherish forever. We carry a vast selection of men's and women's jewelry. Check out Dynamic Design's countless 5-star reviews to see why customers prefer our concierge service in a relaxed Kirkland showroom. Call today for a free consultation, 425-827-7722. Let Dynamic Designs help you create jewelry memories that last a lifetime.
Alternative Talk 1150.
Welcome back to Real Talk with Brian and Dan on 1150 AM KKNW. I'm Brian.
And I'm Dan.
Our next guest is Janis Bayley with Metamorphosis Coaching, LLC. Janis has a master's in behavioral science from Bastyr University. He has worked as a marriage and family therapist for group health, as well as a tobacco cessation coach and social worker. Janis was born and raised locally on Mercer Island, but promptly left The Rock to go to Lewis and Clark College and then to San Francisco. She worked for Nordstrom in the Northern California region for many years in both the retail and corporate side of the business. Janis lives here in the Seattle area with her husband and son. She loves dancing, art, laughing, friends, and family, connecting to spirit, gardening, and animals, and expanding what is possible for the world. Welcome to the show, Janis.
Thank you for having me.
So we like to ask each of our guests to share a fond memory of the home they grew up in. Tell us about that.
Well, I grew up in Mercerdale until I was like 10 or 9. And I remember very distinctly in our basement, I had like half of the basement for myself, and I had gotten a cardboard kitchen that I could play house. Like I set up my whole house. I had this whole area. It was very good memories.
Wow. So you said Mercerdale?
Mercerdale, yeah, which is near the downtown area.
It's on the island, so it's on Mercer Island.
It's on Mercer Island, and it's a neighborhood called Mercerdale.
I should know that.
Kind of near the fire station.
Okay. So you've been on the island your whole life?
Well, no. I mean, I promptly moved away at 18.
Okay. But then came back.
No, actually, yeah. So I did grow up on Mercer Island, but my parents, they built a house on the water and so I grew up after age 10 or so on East Mercer Way.
Oh, nice. That's fantastic. Yeah. So, all right. So what is your quarantine hobby? What is something you've acquired, good or bad habit, while you're in quarantine?
It's not a lot different. I work via phone and Zoom most of the time. I'm not going out, obviously, as much as I used to, which actually creates a little more time. What I have been really enjoying, except for now it's raining, is gardening. I've been cleaning up and taking care. And then also I'm purging. I'm getting rid of stuff I don't need. And
awesome.
Lightening up a little bit for spring.
Great. So let's jump into this life coach thing.
Yeah.
Janis, what is a life coach?
So a life coach is, it's a partnership. I get hired to help people accomplish their goals and their aspirations. And it's very much like a pilot and a co-pilot. I'm the co-pilot and they're the pilot. They say where they want to go, and I help them get there. There's going to be probably some turbulence and some challenges and whatever, and we work through it and get to the finish line of where they want to land.
So how is life coaching different from counseling or therapy?
They're sister professions. They're both obviously helping professions and complementary, but they are very different. Therapy and counseling, which I have done, is focused on healing. It comes from the medical pathology mindset, and it really, legally they need to have a diagnosis and a treatment plan. And coaching is just very different. The person is considered a client, for one, and they are fully capable of achieving whatever they set their minds to, and as long as they're willing to work through it and to stick to it. So coaching is about the future. It's about empowerment and action and taking risks. And therapy is more focused on safety and healing and feelings.
Interesting.
Okay. So then how did you get into the life coaching side of things?
Well, it's a long story, which I will not go into, but it is an amazing series of events, a lot of serendipity, and I believe I was guided to this work. It's become my vocation, not just a profession. A few years back, I was going into a meditation, which I do most mornings, and I just casually asked, like, the universe, God, whatever you want to address, the higher spirit. And I asked, what's my next chapter? I'm almost 60. Like, where can my gifts and talents be of service and I can still earn an income? And when I came out of the meditation, a word popped in my head and it said life coach. And I went, no, I don't want to do that. So, and then I forgot about it. And then like 3 months later, I happened to be in Canada, which I rarely go to, happened to be having a conversation with someone I'd never met. And they were telling me some amazing things they're up to, like an orphanage in Kenya and so forth. And I was just really taken aback, or taken by their power and their influence in the world. And at some point in the conversation, she handed me a business card and said, when are you going to check out this coaching training program I'm starting next month? And I was like, oh, wow, okay. And so, of course, I wanted to look cool too, right? I mean, I didn't want to be, I was so impressed with her. So I show up a few weeks later, and in my head, I'm thinking, yeah, I'm kind of doing them a favor, right? I'm kind of doing what I said I would do, right? Because I want to be integrous. So within a half hour of this observation of this class, I was completely blown away. And I knew that this was more for me than anybody else. So I enrolled in the training program, and I went, started a couple of weeks later. So this all happened very fast. And I had this idea, this assumption that it was going to be kind of easy for me because of my background in counseling and because I was guided and this will be my natural self-expression or something. Well, it was the opposite. It was so challenging. So all my fears, all my insecurities, everything came up, and I worked through it. The point of my story and sharing this is that, by me saying, yes, I will check this out, it opened up opportunities. I wouldn't be here talking with you if I hadn't said yes and if I hadn't persevered. So I get through the year, and then, start a business, which I had never imagined doing. Now have a website, and here I am talking to you on radio. Wow. Like, could not have imagined it a couple of years ago.
That's awesome.
That's an amazing story.
Hence the name Metamorphosis Coaching.
Yeah. Who hires a life coach and why?
People hire coaches because they want something. They either want to do something, be something, or have something. And perhaps they have tried to accomplish whatever they are wanting to accomplish. And they may have run into roadblocks, circumstances, challenges, or they may not have even ever started because they didn't think they could. So a coach is hired for two reasons, really: velocity and accountability. To have someone kind of hold your hand and say, you can do this, and let's create a path on how to get there. And then when turbulence happens, going back to that co-pilot analogy, we'll figure it out. Through commitment and perseverance and being in action. So there's insights. That's an important piece to coaching, but there's also the aspect of being in action. That's how results get created. So I'm there as a cheerleader, as a co-pilot, to get through to whatever it is that stops people in life. And almost everybody has something that stops them in life.
Wow, that's I like the velocity and accountability. I like that statement. I hire a coach for my real estate coaching,
Sure.
and accountability has always been part of it, but velocity. And I think of velocity is starting from one space and getting to another space, but accelerating while doing it. And I think that's a great word. Thank you. I just thought I'd point that out. It's a great word.
Yeah.
So how do you differ from what, say, a career coach has to offer?
Well, I coach the whole person. That's just my how I was trained, and I figure if someone, how we're being at work, whether it be micromanaging or being laissez-faire or whatever, is going to be how we pretty much show up in the rest of our lives. And so the relationships we have with our families, or coworkers, or even the relationship we have with ourselves, right? So I coach the whole person, and what ends up happening is that we're working in one area, but it impacts all kinds of other areas of their lives.
Gotcha.
Janis, do you have a client success story you can share with us?
I do. Well, I'll qualify. So because of confidentiality, which is really, really important, I'm going to just talk about the types of clients that I work with and the challenges they face. So I have worked with clients who are indecisive. They feel stuck and frustrated. They are wanting, they're wanting approval. They're worried about what people think of them. And then because of that, they're actually not moving their lives forward. And they're also they're totally affected by their environment. Like they're not sourcing their own power in decision making and so forth. So, I've worked with people like that, and it's so cool to watch people blossom. They become assertive. They actually know that they have needs and that that's perfectly fine. And then, from that place of who they're being, they can create, they can have their dream job. They can actually, have the partnership with their spouse that they really want. All kinds of cool things. Then there's the flip side. There's people who are like overly confident and think that they're almost omnipotent and that they can do so many things in one day. And what happens with those people often is they get burned out. They're always disappointed at the end of the day because they didn't do enough. And when they're not doing, they're uncomfortable and a lot of anxiety comes up. And so working with those people to slow things down, which is a challenge, especially in this time now where we're at home so much and so forth. I imagine there's a lot of people who are just like chomping at the bit because they're having to be with themselves. So in that case, the learning is slowing down actually increases your productivity because you're being a lot more intentional.
Slow down
and
to
there's
speed
more
up.
creative.
Excuse me, to sneeze. Thank you.
More creative.
No problem.
So we have time for one last question. So when somebody wants to look to hire a coach, a life coach, what is the most important thing? And then how do people get a hold of you?
Oh, yeah. So the make sure that the person, the coach is ICF, is a member of the ICF, which is International Coaching Federation. It's a self-governed body for ethics and standards to make coaching professional standards. Right now, there's no licensing. And then the other is to make sure that they actually talk with the person. Don't just hire someone off because a friend said it was good or the website looked good or whatever. Talk with the person. It's a relationship that really makes coaching successful. And make sure it's just a good fit and that you really click with the coach that you end up hiring.
Awesome.
Janis, thank you for coming on the show today.
Yeah, thank you.
Tell our listeners how they can reach you.
Well, My website is metamorphosiscoaching.life. And my phone number is 503-468-6081.
Thank you, Janis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah. Remember, all segments of our show are available to watch on our YouTube channel. If you're interested in learning more about any of our guests, please subscribe. Join us after the break for some final thoughts and something fun to do. We'll be right back.
Did you know when you pay rent, you're actually paying someone else's mortgage? Are you tired of missing out on owning your own home? Fact: homeowners on average have 40 times the financial net worth of renters. The Eastside Real Estate Team has been helping many first-time home buyers find and buy their first home. They specialize in customer service and put you first. They listen first to what you're looking for, and then they take the time to make sure their clients understand every aspect of the home buying process. If owning a home has been your dream, the Eastside Real Estate Team can help you. For a free, no-hassle consultation, call 425-200-4093 or find them online at the eastsiderealestateteam.com, a subsidiary of Keller Williams Realty in Bellevue.
Eastside Auto Works has served clients on the East Side since 1972. They're one of the oldest full-service facilities around. Check us out at eastsideautoworks.com or call 425-746-0162. European and Japanese vehicles are their specialty, and they love working on Volkswagens, Audis, Subarus, and Mazdas. Bring your super fun Mini Cooper or Fiat and they'll get it fixed right up. So when it's time to do service work on the mom van or family SUV from Honda and Toyota, think of Eastside Auto Works for all of your automotive needs. Getting in for service at Eastside Auto Works is easy. They'll get you into a loaner car, ride, or maybe Uber. Their AAA approved facility is very conveniently located in North Bellevue. Visit them on Facebook at Eastside Auto Works Auto Repair. Their slogan says it all: passion for people, passion for cars.
Tell your friends about Alternative Talk 1150.
Hello and welcome back to Real Talk on 1150 KKNW. Let's get right into our final thoughts of the day. Brian, what do you got?
You know, I was going to talk just a little bit about our stay at home. I've really found this time interesting. I know it's been stressful and hard for a lot of people, but for me, I'm using the time as a reset, really looking at how I run the business, looking at change. I mentioned earlier about changing technologies, but it's interesting because I've kind of moved past the stress into a time of really valuing it as a reset for business, for relationships. And I read something this week I really, really liked from a teacher who posted that, you know, to the parents that are stressed out about homeschooling their kids, let the teachers be teachers. Don't stress out about the homeschooling. Just work on building the relationships, keeping your kids happy and teachable. And let the teachers do their job, but just return your kids to them without PTSD from this whole thing, and they can do their job. Yeah. So I thought, just enjoy the time, do another baking. I love seeing all the people doing the baking, do those things with your kids, return them to the teachers as happy humans, and let the teachers do their jobs, and we all win. My biggest fear is that sometime in the future, our country will be run by homeschooled children of alcoholics. So really hoping to move past that. So Dan, what's your take on the stay at home?
Yeah, it's actually been really fun. I think I'm at a stage in my family where my kids are almost, we're at that pre-launch phase, right? So 16 and 18-year-old. And it's nice to just have this time, because normally, and I know there are people watching and listening out there, that it used to be one event to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. And then this person's there and I'm there and he's there and we're here. And and then you kind of see each other and it's great. Well, I mean, we're just kind of in a spot where it's there. And we've had great conversations. We've enjoyed watching movies, baking together, cooking together, getting in each other's face, getting annoyed with each other, learning how to resolve those things. I think it's great.
Yeah.
Now, I have some fun things to do inside.
Cool.
Interestingly enough, Netflix, of course, has a lot of stuff coming out. Have you seen the series Waco on the David Koresh?
No, I'll have to look at that one.
look at that. My daughter and I started watching that a couple nights ago, and there's some surprising stuff that lead me to want to go research more as to what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how true the story is that they're portraying, but it's actually pretty compelling and interesting. And, because I remember living through that, in 1993, just this kind of fringe group in the middle of what is now Joanna Gaines's hometown. Right? So, but movies at home, they're supposed to, I believe Comcast through Xfinity, they're releasing some of these movies that were going to be in the theaters. So you can kind of do a theater night. Virtual concerts. There's a lot of people that are doing that to raise money. The other day I listened to a cellist play in the morning, and I went and sent him $10, and I had my morning kind of meditation music and stuff like that. I want to bring, we're out of time, so I was going to try and bring our guests in, but Brian, why don't you walk us out?
You bet. That concludes our show for the week. I especially want to thank our guests, Doug and Janis, for taking the time to speak with us today. Thank you all for listening. And before we go, in the words of Louis Glickman, the best investment on earth is earth. Everybody, stay well, stay safe. See you next week.
Thanks for watching and listening.